Hi everyone, another day. Didn't do a lot today. Played around with the headlights a little bit. I went looking for globes and plugs and all sorts of stuff to get these headlights operational and set up the way I need to before I sort of solder everything in. And if you remember in the last video I spoke about wanting to put the indicators inside the headlight as well. So I have the Parkers, obviously the headlight, globe and the indicator, like the modern ones you can buy for street rods. So I thought, well, okay, I have to separate the upper portion of the light in order to keep that a separate, I don't know what you call it, chamber or separate space or whatever. So, because the regulations in Australia require that the indicator be of a minimum of a certain size. So, yeah, I have to basically build a compartment with inside the light. It can't actually, when the indicator works, it can't actually use the whole light as an indicator. So it's all technical bullshit. But anyway, what I decided to do was on these rectangular headlights that I bought, decided to take the side out of it because it's got a nice curve on it. As you can see there. It's nice and flat, it's got a curve on it. There's enough there. Looks like the top's missing there, but I didn't need to go as high. So yeah, I chopped that out for the two. And I'll take you inside now and I'll show you what I got. Okay guys, they're the two pieces that I cut out of the sides of those old triangular headlights. So I'm just going to set my tripod up here. Just bear with me. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the little sockets for the parking lights, and I've tested these in the garage and they work. I just got to buy one globe. I had 3 globes and 2 of the 3 didn't work. So anyway, the idea with this is that this will get soldered in up there, and that upper portion of the light will be for the indicator, and light will not be able to pass into the headlight chamber. So I hope you can get a bit of an idea of that. So that's the idea, guys. Sort of been scouting around and dug out a couple of other little electrical components that I sort of needed. So yeah, I get my my little dome light switches. God, that one's jammed. I've got 4 of these. I pulled them out of a donor car that I bought years ago. But this one's jammed too. Why are these jammed? Oh, there we go. I'm pushing on them the wrong way. So yeah, they're nice and compact. Got the original Ford factory plugs on them, so that's all good. So I got them. I've got these sockets which have the blade type, or I'm not sure what they call I think they're called just blade type globes. Now what I have to do is I have to see if they sell these in orange. I can't remember. I've never bought these in orange globes before. I think they do. I'm pretty sure they do. And if not, I'll just buy some of that. You can actually buy like a proper paint for dipping globes in. So I know in the early days when I worked in auto parts, back in the late 90s, they used to sell it because the orange globes hadn't yet come onto the market as a common thing. Though, a lot of cars were still running orange plastic indicator lens, not a clear one. So they may possibly make these in orange, and if they do, they're going to be the sockets that go in through the top here for the indicators. And these all work. I've tested these, so that's good. And I've got hundreds of these in the garage. Every car I strip out, I always strip the globes out of the dash panels. So I got 2 of those guys. And one other thing I found as well, which needs a little bit of a clean up, is that's a number plate light. Very universal. I remember this one came off. God, what did this one come off? I'm not sure, but I know that this type of number plate light was used throughout the 70s and even into the 80s, and I think possibly maybe just the early 90s, but I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, I've got that. So that's a number plate light for when I finally get it registered, not registers. So yeah, all good. So I'm going to take these to the club meeting on Thursday night. It's Sunday now, Sunday night. I'll take these on Thursday. We've got a guy that's a panel beater there, and we were actually talking about these lights, and he reckons he's got a whole lot of LED sticks at home, like the old school ones, you know, ones they're not supposed to sell anymore. And he's a panel beater, and I'm going to see if he wants to do this job for me. It's not very hard. I'll do it myself if I can get the LED. See if he wants to have a go at it. Having worked with lead before, or solder, I should say. Well, lead solder, it's the same thing. See if he wants to do it. If he doesn't want to do it, I'll ask him if I can have a stick, and I'll bring it home and I'll do it myself. So yeah, I'm hoping by middle of next week that these will be finished and ready to go off to the chrome platers. So yeah, that's all I've got to tell you today, so cheers. Hey everyone, it's another day. Well, it's the end of another day actually, end of Monday, and decided to go out and buy some lead and some tinning solution, and have a go at these H4 headlight conversions. Now, warning to anybody that's not experienced at doing this stuff, it's fucking hard. I followed everything that I saw in that YouTube video. I made sure everything was perfectly clean. I re-sanded everything today again for a second time, and it's just hard. You get the solution on the parts, and then you're supposed to melt the solder onto the parts, and does it stick? No, it just completely runs off, and it's just a mess. But after some trials and tribulations, I have them together. Not as nice as what I've seen in some of the YouTube videos. Obviously these guys have done them before, and they're, you know, they just got experience in doing it, and I don't. But I'll give you a look. It's on. It's pretty it's pretty blackened. It hasn't distorted anything. Like that's still the way it was. Like there's been no heat distort it, but it's you know, I've got to give it a clean up with a wire brush now. But I'll use a wire brush on the end of my drill rather than I've tried with the hand brush, but I couldn't budge any of the dirt marks. So I'll hit it with the wire brush, and then what I'll do is I'll prep wash it, and yeah, hopefully it'll be good to go. Done this one as well. And now I'm looking at putting in these pieces. Giving these a double clean today as well, another clean up. And this would be the top, obviously, for the indicator, Parker down the bottom. Now, I am not confident in soldering these in. If I was using my soldering iron and soldering wire, no problem. But I don't think I'm gonna get enough heat into the bucket to do it. I think it needs to be done the way I've attempted to do it with the lead stick and torch and all that sort of stuff, but this torch is not fine enough. You need something with a very, very small flame. You need to be able to hold that in, and I think you need to be able to tip the bucket forward, because the problem is the solder runs so easy. And yeah, so I gave it a go. You know, there's a couple of lumps there still that I've got to get off, but I'll hit them. A couple of those I'll hit with the flap disc. I don't want to heat it up again, because that's a little problem I ran into, was just trying to reheat or follow the video that I saw on YouTube. He says once you've got that down on top, let it cool off, and then all you do is you heat up around the edge here. Well, my flame is too broad and it ends up heating up everything, and what happens is this comes off again, and then it makes a mess, and all the solder pulls down the bottom here. Now, what I should have done, and I didn't do it after I did this one. I should have done it on this one, and I didn't. I was just so out of control by that stage that I just didn't give a shit. Should have filled it up with a little bit of water. So when the solder hit there, it would float on the water. The problem was when I put the flux on everything and heated it up, all the flux ran down the side of the reflectors, and that ran into the channel down here. And then when the solder melted and that ran down the side, that ran into there, and it fluxed itself, or it soldered itself to that channel. And then what I had to do is I had to stand it up on end like that, and then I only did this once it cooled down. I stood it up on its edge like that, and I started at the top, and I worked my way around, and I just let all the solder melt and slide down to the bottom, and then I just sort of used one of these seal picks to dig it out. But yeah, it's horrible, guys. It's probably the worst experience I've had on the truck so far. You know, soldering a wire or two together is not bad, but doing something like this, wow. I hope it holds. Like, I used an entire stick, just about. I've got that much left. I have an entire stick. This is supposed to be a 60-40 mix of tin and lead. Yeah, no problem with it melting, but trying to get it to stick to the reflector. Hope I never have to do another one again. I'd love to run round the seam here and completely seal it everywhere, but now I don't want to touch it because it's freaking me out. So yeah, I'll the main thing is I can get a H4 in there now, and you know, I've got a couple of people that I can ask. My friend's actually coming over tomorrow, the friend who's got cancer. He's coming over with my dad tomorrow. He may have some experience with soldering and stuff like that. I'll ask him. You know, he might might say, yeah, no worries, I'll take it home and I'll finish it off for you. It'll be good. But I don't know until he turns up tomorrow, and at the moment I don't really want to ask him to do any work. He's bored as hell because he's stuck at home, but you know, this might be something he can do in his garage, which isn't too strenuous, but you know, I'll leave it up to him. If he wants to have a go at it and he knows how to do it, he can have a shot. So yeah, there's lots of dags on here, guys. Just can't. Yeah, it's completely rattled me today. It's done my head in. I've burnt my hands and everything. So yeah, try and find somebody that's experienced in this stuff, because yeah, it's alright having a go, but yeah, it's frustrating, very frustrating. One thing I did manage to do successfully was to gather up all the solder that had spewed out onto the floor and splattered everywhere. And what I did is I set this up with that under there like that, and I put the two ends on it, and I put all the bits and pieces in there, and then I just got the torch and I heated it up, and I basically made another bar. So yeah, it didn't go to waste. So no, I've sort of probably still got a lot. I probably didn't use as much as I thought I did. So yeah, good way to sort of recycle it, I guess. Okay guys, I've just given that a quick clean with the wire brush on the drill, and yeah, it looks a hell of a lot better once all the black stuff comes off it. So yeah, gonna have a go at the other one now. So we'll see how we go with that, eh? Not all the way around yet, guys, but I'm hoping you can see this with the light. But it's coming up clean. So I'm just going to get rid of these real bad solder splatters. I'm just going to grab the flap disc and just take them off. the lumpy bits off, so we'll keep going with this. Go back this way. Okay guys, that's it. There's probably still a little bit of solder sitting in that channel, but I don't think it's going to interfere with anything, to be honest. Nothing actually goes behind it. It goes in front of it. The lens sits in the front, so yeah. But if I need to clean it out, I will. I just don't know at the moment. But yeah, it's come up nice. Always like the look of brass when it's polished. So that's the two of them cleaned up, and yeah, as I said, you know, I'll see what I can do tomorrow when my friend comes over, and see if maybe it's something that he might be able to finish off for me. Cheers.